What are your unique character traits, and are you using them to the maximum in your leadership? Hey, my dear, I'm leadership development coach Kathy Archer, author of best-selling book Mastering Confidence. Welcome to the training room today. Bite-sized training for busy women leaders who want to lead with confidence. Because what I know is most of us hit this point in our career where we start to feel in over our heads and we are wondering if we have what it takes to lead. In my courses and in my coaching, I give you both the inner and outer tools to restore that lost confidence so you, my dear, can move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and your life. Today, we are talking about this mini quick assessment that you can do that's going to help you be a better leader. And it's all about character. I'm going to start talking about that in a minute, but before I get into that, I am going to share this into the Confident Women Leaders group. The Confident Women Leaders group is a private, free Facebook group that you can join if you want to be connected to other women leaders who maybe are going through some of the similar challenges as you. Why I do that, what I want you to answer in the chat box or in the comment box there is, do you know what your character strengths are? Just, yes, I know what my strengths of character are, or no, maybe I don't, or I'm not so sure. And while you do that, I'm going to share this into my Confident Women Leaders group. Ta-da! All right, so character. Let's start talking about character. So we often talk about character, especially in leadership, but in general, we will often say, oh, he's quite the character, or wow, that damaged her character, or that was out of character for them. So we talk about character. Sometimes we even name it, like, boy, I love her persistence, or he's so honest, or yeah, he has no patience. We list those pieces of character traits, and yet we don't really know what they mean or how to develop them. But character is so critical in leadership. It really is kind of the underlying thing that takes a good leader to a great leader, that takes leaders from sort of just barely getting by to really demonstrating their strengths and utilizing those fully in leadership. So we're going to talk today a lot about character. So let me give you the definition of character first. Character is the particular combination of qualities and traits that are unique to you. Nobody else has the same sort of, DNA as you do, nor does everybody else have the same character traits that you do. And they are distinct and they're unique, and you have sort of a mix of all of them that's different than me and the person sitting beside you and the guy down the street. And it's important to come back and look at those all the time and sort of figure out, how do they show up in my leadership? Those character traits come from your conduct. Your conduct is what you say and what you do. So I can say to the world, I'm an honest person, but no one is going to judge me as honest until my actions and my words match that. And so we have to really think about our conduct. It's our conduct, what we do, what we say, how we act, how we behave in meetings, in conversations. Do our words and actions match? That's what defines our character. And so we want to look at that. In leadership, there are a number of character traits that are really important. Honesty is one of them. Integrity. Integrity is the number one character trait that people look for in their leaders. Now, just in your mind, think about it for a moment. Think of a leader that you know, and do they have strong integrity or don't? Or think of somebody you know has no integrity. Would you want them to lead? Or think of what somebody's done that sort of demonstrates integrity. Here's some other ones. They're very persistent. A leader who has strong persistence is going to be admired. There's some people are going to be like, wow, look at all the stuff that organization has been through, or that company or that team has been through. Man, that leader just sticks it out. They aren't afraid of conflict. When you are a leader and you are constantly backing down from things, that's not going to help you out much. You need to have those tough conversations despite that. So when we think about character, often, like I say, we aren't clear on what our character strengths are, how to use them more fully, how to develop them in other people. And we use these words kind of loosely. They have deep meaning, but we aren't sure what they specifically mean. We kind of get it gutturally, but we can't cognitively. What does integrity mean? What is it that develops perseverance? When someone is has the character strength of humility, what does that look like? How does that show up in their leadership? And then let's say I want to be a more humble leader. How the heck do I develop that? How do I grow humility? Years ago, when I had an assessment done on me, like a 360 assessment for my team, one of the things that they said was I lacked integrity. And that just sent me on a tailspin. And, I'm Googling, what the heck is integrity? Why does my team think that I'm lacking integrity? And it took me a long time to sort of back that up and go, oh, I get it. My words aren't matching my actions. And even, when I got that, I had to go even deeper and go, what words aren't matching what actions? Where would they see me out of an integrity? And so one great example was I was, preaching all the time about wellness, health and wellness, balance, work-life balance. And yet I was dragging work home with me. I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, pulling my computer out. I was staying late at work or coming in on weekends. Well, that's not integrity. If I'm going to tell my staff, lead a balanced life, but my actions are pretty clear going, I say it, but I don't mean it. That's not in integrity. So one way to help us figure out what our character strengths are and then to grow them is to start with an assessment. Now, today I have a guide sheet that is called Strength of Character. And if you pop up into the notes, you'll find it. And there's a link on this guide sheet that takes you to what's called the VIA or VIA Signature Strengths quiz or test or assessment. And if you just Google it, you'll find it too. But what I want you to do is I want you to pop over there and do that assessment. And I want you to come up with your 5 strengths. And then if you grab this guide sheet, what you're going to do then is kind of start to look at how do I utilize those strengths more. So let me give you some examples of what's on the VI Signature Strengths. This comes from years of research, people like Daniel Goleman, Martin Seligman, who, are heavily into the positive psychology movement, the emotional intelligence stuff. I have one of those little tiny no-see-em bugs flying around my face. So sorry if I get a little distracted here. They've done all this research and they've taken into account, now if you go back in history, virtues and character have been studied and talked about for years. Aristotle, lots of those older sort of philosophers talked about this kind of stuff all the time. When you look at people that, I'm trying to think of which guy it was. It was one of the US presidents. He kept a list of virtues and every day he would write down how well he did with those virtues. And at the end of the year, he'd erase them and start all over again. And he focused on one virtue every month and he was trying to develop those. This isn't new stuff. This has been around forever. There's tons of information on it. We've just kind of pushed it aside for more of the things we need to do and learn and understand, not the ways of being. And that's really what character is. It's who am I and who am I becoming? It's how do I show up in the world? Not what am I doing and what am I saying specifically, but who am I when I'm doing those things and saying those things? What's really underneath all of that? So the VIA Signature Strengths took all of these, character traits and these virtues, and they sort of summarized it into one, they call it kind of the periodic table of character traits. And there are 6 virtues and then 24 character traits under each of those virtues, divided up under each of those virtues, that helps you kind of figure out how do I become that virtuous person. So the first virtue is of wisdom, and that's around the cognitive strengths used around acquiring and using knowledge. So these are things like creativity, curiosity, judgment, love of learning, and perspective. Now imagine a leader who is curious and open and, willing to have those conversations, even if they don't know how it's going to turn out. If they're curious to try different things, or they're willing to take a different perspective on things, or think of somebody who's not that. They are so stuck in their ways. This is the way we've done it. This is the way we've always done it. Don't try and rock the boat. That's not going to help that organization move forward. So that's the first set of them. The second one are virtues of courage. Now, the first one was sort of those cognitive strengths. These are emotional strengths, and they are helping you sort of achieve your goals and your visions. So this is around bravery, perseverance, honesty, and zest. So in leadership, we need to have that sense of bravery, that courage to take some hard stands, to take some risks and start new programs. There needs to be that incredible level of honesty and authenticity, showing up as your true self. When we, we've talked about this when we did this whole stuff in the last sort of month around emotional intelligence. When we show up with masks and try and block out our emotions, and we're not this authentic being that we truly are, we're not very great at leadership. In fact, people are like, I don't trust you. I don't want to be around you. Perseverance, hugely important. Think about the big projects that you're taking on, starting up a new program. You have to persevere through a lot of things. So virtues around wisdom, virtues around courage. Then there's some virtues around humanity. That's around kindness and social intelligence, which we've been talking about in the last few calls. Being able to recognize what's going on in other people and then respond and manage all of that. Then there's the virtues around justice, teamwork, fairness, leadership. We need to look at how we interact in the community and what our character strengths are that are going to help grow and develop that community. And that's what those ones are. Don't worry, I'm going to spend the next several weeks diving deeper into these. What I want to do today is give you a quick overview, get you to go over and do the assessment, and then come back for the next few weeks and start to dive in deeper around, okay, these are my strengths. How do I utilize them more? And, sorry, I got to get a drink. How do I utilize them more, and how do I develop them in other people? Okay, virtues of temperance. Temperance is the things around forgiveness, humility, prudence, and self-regulation. Yeah. How good are we at controlling our urges, whether that's the urge to eat something or the urge to say something? What are our strengths around being humble or forgiving others? I had this conversation with somebody recently about forgiveness, and she, it was almost like a deer in the headlights look, because she's like, forgiveness? What's that? And I'm like, no, that's the thing that you need to think about sometimes that helps you feel better. And so it's those strengths that sometimes we aren't so clear on. So again, we're talking about the VIA signature strengths. There's a link up in the notes that's going to get you to the guide sheet that's going to give you this quick assessment, less than 10 minutes. It's going to identify your top signature strengths, and then we're going to talk over the next few weeks about how to grow them. So there's 24 strengths boiled down into 6 virtues. Virtues of wisdom, courage, humility, justice. We just talked about temperance. And then the last set of strengths is all around the virtues of transcendence. And these are appreciation of beauty and excellence, gratitude, hope, humor, and spirituality. So imagine a leader without hope, right? That is just like, this is never going to work. We can't do this. That's not the type of leader we want. But imagine a leader who is hopeful, who is optimistic, does see possibilities. And, imagine somebody who is that type of person, and yet working in an organization where everybody else around them is doom and gloom. Can you imagine somebody who's like, oh my goodness, this is so exciting, and everybody's like, will you just get out of here? That just like crushes somebody. And so you have to figure out, if that's your core strength, if that's one of your top strengths is hope and optimism, how do you use that? Maybe it's not this bubbly, energetic kind of, Kathy style. Maybe it shows up differently. And as we go through this over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about these, and we're going to talk about how do I develop those. So I really want you to pop on up, grab the guide sheet, do the assessment, and start to look at your strengths. Let me give you a sense of how this shows. Oh, I should hold on to the sheet. Okay, so these are my top 5 strengths. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to tell you something else. Of these 24 character strengths, there are 7 that are the needle movers in terms of academic achievement, success, and happiness. So when you have these strengths and you utilize these strengths and you develop these character strengths, and we can develop character strengths, that's The whole point of me talking about this conversation is we can absolutely develop our own character strengths, and we can develop character strengths in other people. But these are the 7 needle movers. If you can grow these and develop these, you are going to find that happiness, success, and achievement. Curiosity, perseverance, zest, social intelligence, gratitude, and hope. So if you can take those character traits and really work on them and grow them and develop them, you're going to see things happen. And so again, we'll talk more about those. Now I want to give you a sense of how they show up, and I'll use myself as an example. So these are my top 5 strengths, and I'll try and give them to you in order. First one is appreciation of beauty and excellence. Second one is gratitude. Then what's number 3? No, that's not number 3. What's number? Oh, spirituality. Number 4 is hope. And number 5 is love of learning. So just think about that. Those of you that know me or have been following me for a while, my number 1 signature core character strength is appreciation of beauty and excellence. Now, I know some people are going, beauty? That's it, Kathy? Like, seriously? Yeah, nice scarf. No. There's so much more to this character strength. And it is really around the beauty in you. I appreciate the beauty in you. Yes, I appreciate the beauty around me, and I love nature, and I love, watch my grandbabies, and I love having stuff, pretty on my desk or whatever. But this is all about beauty and excellence. And I pulled out, just for kicks and giggles, I pulled out a couple of other assessments that I've done on myself. And you'll find this quite interesting. So the first one is the Strengths Finder. If you've never heard of the Strengths Finder, grab the book out of the library, borrow it, do it. And there's a whole bunch of them actually. Strengths Finder 2.0, but Now Discover Your Strengths, First Break All the Rules. It's all stuff by Gallup. And you might have heard Gallup research before, but it's all around what are sort of the strengths of great leaders. And it's all about sort of how to take organizations and individuals and move them from good to great. Interestingly enough, when I did that assessment, my top strength is maximizer. And here's what maximizer says, that I take something from good to great. Excellence, not average, is your measure. And so it's not only about myself, but it's again also taking you from where you are to where your full potential is. That's my passion. I want to see you excel. I want to see you do your best. And not only for you, for me, right? When I wrote Mastering Confidence and I published it, it wasn't good enough that I published it. What I wanted was to reach my potential. And for me, I knew that my potential was to get that to become a bestseller on Amazon. And I did that. That's what Maximizer is. Another one of the tests that I did is the Keirsey one, which is I can't remember the name. It's kind of like, if you've ever heard people use Myers-Briggs, it's kind of like a Myers-Briggs survey. And so here's what they said I landed as an idealist. And here's what it says. Idealists strive to discover who they are and how they can become their best self. And they want to help others make this journey. So are you seeing how everything overlaps? And when I start to look at when I'm helping you, when I'm teaching you, when I'm developing courses, when I'm coaching my clients, when I'm leading my own life, it's always about what's my potential and what's your potential and how can I help you get there. If I wasn't utilizing that strength, if I wasn't showing up every day doing my best for you and helping you do your best, you probably wouldn't be watching this right now. Probably wouldn't be making that much difference in your life. I also knew when I left my organization, however many years ago, that I wasn't going to be able to use my full potential there. And so I had to take that risk and jump out and learn how. One of my other core strengths is love of learning, right? I'm constantly learning, constantly reading, constantly developing myself. So if I'm not using that core strength, I start to get stagnant. I start to get bored. I start to lose interest. And if you've ever been in a job too long where you've done the same thing again and again and again, and one of your core strengths is love of learning, you're going to feel bored. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to get yourself into trouble, just like kids get themselves into trouble because you're not living fully from your core strengths. So I think what we really need to do is figure out what are my strengths and how do I utilize them more? Here's a couple more examples from me. So my third strength is spirituality. One of the things that I always do before I start these videos is I say a little prayer. And my prayer is about helping me help you, right? It's not about, oh God, don't let the technology fall apart and don't let me mess up. It's about make sure that I'm giving you what you need. Make sure that I'm helping you learn and grow. Make sure that my words resonate with you. That's what I'm saying in a prayer. One of my other core strengths is zest. The other thing that I'm doing before this video starts is I have some music playing. I am dancing around. And so I am using that core strength of mine to build up my energy. If I show up like this, hey, how you doing? I'm talking about strengths today, and maybe you should go do yours. You're probably not going to listen to me. Part of what you find attractive about these weekly videos that I do, about the work that I do, is my energy level. And so if I don't show up using that strength, you're going to go someplace else to get information. The same is true in organizations. If you're not showing up authentically as you and utilizing your strengths, people are going to go someplace else, or they're going to just tune out. So again, go back to up in the notes, there is the guide sheet, and it's going to give you the link to the VIA or VIA Signature Strengths. Go do that. Come back to the guide sheet, write your top 5 down, and then it's going to give you a little assignment about what to do with those. I want you to do that. Then I want you to come back here next week, and we're going to start talking. We're going to break down those 7 virtues: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence each week over the next few weeks. So you can start to notice which one of those your strengths line up in, and you can start paying attention as we start talking about those, how you can develop those strengths, how you can grow more. So make sure you go grab that. When you identify those strengths and start to utilize them more, you're going to feel better in your leadership, and that's incredibly important. So I want you to make sure you go grab the guide sheet and do that. I need another drink today. Talking too much. One more thing that I want to say before I jump off today. Starting September 10th, I'm doing a 5-day challenge for any of you who want to get out of your rut and back in the groove. I know as we slide into September, many of us are feeling like, oh my God, here we go. I was, enjoying summer mode, and now suddenly we're going to have to get back into everything and all the meetings and all the agenda appointments, and everything's going to jump back in. Before you get into there and start falling off the side of, let me say that again. Before you jump into September and start to go back into survival mode, I'm going to catch you, and we're going to do this 5-day challenge so you can kind of change some of those mindset things and get out of that rut, because September really can drag us down if we let it. And I want to get you off on the right track. September 10th to 14th, 5-day challenge. The link is up in the notes as well. And we are going to get you out of that rut and back in your group. It's all free. It's, just start helping you look at how you can get out of survival mode and start planning your way into that thriving. So make sure you click the link, join the 5-day challenge. And make sure you go grab that guide sheet, do your VIA Signature Strengths, identify your top 5 strengths, come back here next week, and we're going to start talking about those, breaking them down week by week, and helping you become your best self. There's 2 questions I want you to think about as we close today. And it's, who am I and who am I becoming, is the first question or set of questions. So who am I and who am I becoming? And so part of who I am is these character traits, and it's your personality, and it's your values and beliefs and your ethics and your morals. And some of that is static and sort of will stay the same for the rest of your life, but a lot of it we can mold and we can adjust and we can fine tune. And it's that stuff that we're going to focus on. So it's who am I and who am I becoming? It goes back to, what do I want people to say about me, at my funeral, when I leave my organization, or when I walk out of the room? What is it that I want people to, be inspired by? How do I want to impact other people? So who am I and who am I becoming? And then the second question is one to start thinking about more consciously in your day-to-day world. Is what I'm about to do or say in alignment with who I am and who am I becoming? So if I have said that I want to become a person who is more humble, and I'm suddenly starting to be very arrogant and, prancing around showing off this or that or the other thing, or talking about how smart I am, maybe that's not helping me be more humble. So I might want to slow down and back up the train. Or if one of the things that I want to do is become a more patient person, and I'm, busy flying around here and doing this and, answering this question quick and pushing people away and, short with everybody. Okay, so how do I become a more patient person? And so start to think about that. Who am I and who am I becoming? And then in this moment, is what I'm about to do or say moving me towards who I'm becoming? So make sure you go grab that link in the notes that's going to help you identify your signature strengths, because that's really going to help you figure out who you are and who you're becoming. Join the 5-day Get Out of Your Rut Challenge, and we are going to make sure that you don't end up in survival mode falling into September. And come back here over the next few weeks and learn more about your character strengths and how you can grow those in yourself. Because the more you grow yourself, my dear, the more you focus on becoming that person who has the impact you want to have, the more you are going to move out of survival mode. And that's really what we're talking about, is moving you from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear.